One thing that journey has shown me is that true sisterhood is people that don't give up on you. So I'm just going to use you as well. For like me and Mo, we would have been challenging to the people that we call family now, but they didn't give up on us. They still fought and loved us so that we can be who we are.
Consistency. Sisterhood is consistency, and not necessarily like call me every day or let me see you every Saturday. Oh, you missed a Saturday, we're not sisters anymore. It's just like, okay, I can count on this person to be like there when I need them, to call on them. Okay, you're not free today, that's fine. I genuinely know that's because you're busy. I know that if you could, you would make time for me. It's just having that kind of like consistent foundation to have, and I feel like that's so important. Because as you were saying, is it you who were saying earlier, it's just about feeling safe in a space that you can even be vulnerable in, because it was you who mentioned vulnerability. So yeah, sisterhood is consistency, I think.
I think for me, so I have a sister, a younger sister, but I also have older brothers. So my brothers and I are all like 16, 18 months apart, and my sister is like 5 years younger than me. So I always dealt with her as if I was her brother, because that's how I associated how you maneuver. I'm not sensitive like that, so I can be quite aggressive, harsh with my tone, like either you receive or you don't, but it's your business. But then as I got older, I found that I've fell into sisterhoods and not even realised. So now I know I have the capability to extend to her what I'm receiving from outside. So now we're in a phase where I'm working through, because obviously in that time there's been a rupture in the relationship because she's looking for an older sister and I'm dealing with her like she's a brother. So it's like we're mending that relationship now and trying to be a bit more sensitive and caring and softer to present myself as that sister that outside people have been able to experience, but she hasn't now. So that's where I'm at now.
Wow,
That's interesting.
That's deep.
I think hearing your story and your story makes. I always did have an appreciation. I guess you said I'm one of the sisters. So like hearing your story, I always had an appreciation for my sisters because I see lots of other sisters. I have a friend who has really ruptured relationship. So hearing your stories as well, I think it makes me appreciate like what we have, because I think we do pretty well.
I think so.
In terms of our relationship, so like from the biological perspective, I think when you have that in-house, you kind of have to be like, you talking about gratitude before, you do have to practice gratitude for it, to be fair, because like not everyone has it, and then sometimes it'll take you years to find it, but having it just set up from birth is kind of amazing in a way.
Yeah, just to add on to what Sharif was saying, I was thinking like, grateful, like I don't know, would I be me if I had 4 brothers and not 4 sisters?
You needed me.
I feel like I would have had to learn how to be a sister if I had to do it through school and other means. So it's really, I do thank God for my sisters. But yeah, sometimes I do think like, how would I be like if I
actually waiting for you to cry.
But yeah, it's interesting. I think sisterhood is interesting. I feel like I say that a lot. Sorry, I don't really think I could say I have loads of actual sisters outside that I've known from long time before. I feel like there's only like a small amount, and I don't know if that's normal. Like I don't know, I'm not sure. Do you know what I mean? Like in terms of friends from before that you can call sisters and now with you. Like I don't know what the expectation.
She definitely knows.
I was thinking like, am I doing something wrong? And then I always think like, oh, but I've got my sister at home, so like what? I don't know if that's a good mentality, but I kind of always fell back on the fact that I've got these guys that can't actually go anywhere. No, you can't leave me now. But yeah, just the gratefulness in general.
It is. It's a privilege to have that. You know, like, oh, I have what I need at home.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
And you didn't have to force. You didn't have to keep friends around unnecessarily because you feel like you need that female companionship.
Yeah.
You didn't look nowhere, and you didn't beg friend, and you didn't do things that you wouldn't usually do because you're secure in the fact that when I get home, there's the squad. So that's a privilege. That's lovely.
I think though, for me personally, there's different levels to sisterhood, and I think recently I'm stepping into the another level, higher stratosphere. Should I say? So obviously I've always had my sisters in house, you know. So, but for me, it's the level of sisterhood that I had, like, let's say when I was younger, is this is my sister. It was just, this is my sister. We keep kiki, we argue, we all of this sort of stuff. This is my sister. But I think recently I've had to learn that there's more to it. There's that vulnerability. There's that accountability. There's, you know, that love, that patience, and all of the stuff. And it's challenging. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But one thing that I will say is, you can have a sister in-house and not always have that experience. I thank God for Afiya and the person that she is, because she's different. Do you know what I mean? She's different. Like, this isn't just a normal sister, this is a sister. You know what I mean? Like, she is a sister that I can say can genuinely lead you and guide you and be that spiritual mentor that you need. And you know, it's awkward sometimes. It's like, it's your sister, and a lot of times I'm just like, go away. Do you know what I mean? But it's good to have like more than one person wrapped up in one. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the type of sister that you have as well, it can give a new meaning to sisterhood. And just to add, I think sisters, everyone, they're different, they're packaged very differently. Like, I never used to have the same conversations with Afiya that I did with Akila. Like, I feel like before, do you mind? No, you didn't know what I'm saying. No. I feel like I didn't used to speak to God. What? I didn't used to speak about God or like stuff to do with God with Akila. Like, I would always, me and you would always talk about that stuff. I feel like now we've all kind of done like her. We all kind of are able to engage in those conversations. And of recent, I feel like, so for you that don't know, Sharika doesn't live with us in our house, but it's been so lovely having her over and being able to actually meet Sharika and get to know her properly, because the age gap is what, 10 years?
Yeah,
no, literally. She's just turned 30. I'm turning 30. It's 10 years. I never
think about showing us even bigger.
You get to that age though where it's like, you're not your sister's, you're still your sister's little sister, but you can be in the same environment and it be okay. Like, it's not like this is you're 2 and I'm 25. Where we can actually engage together. Yeah, and have different sisters for different things. I think that's okay to go to a different sister for a different thing.
And I think that's coming back to what we were talking about with having a purpose for your relationship.
And
it's being, I'm sure for you guys, so you guys for me were a very early sort of representation of sisterhood, because I would come to your house and I'd stay over and this one would give me slippers, this one that I would sleep in my bed, and it's lovely to see. And I think it's having that security in that, you know, what Afiya can do for Rahima, Akila brings something totally different, and is having that security that we've all got our purpose, and God has brought us together as sisters, whether it be in your family or outside. And to be honest, sometimes that was an issue as well, like with comparison, thinking, oh man, like this person's so like spiritual, so I'm not so spiritual, but actually you don't realise the impact that you have in other areas. And there's always a purpose for why God brings you into people's lives, and I think it's being secure in that purpose, like, okay, cool, so I'm that friend that, you know, can always encourage you, or I'm that friend that always has great ideas, or someone that you can come to and trust, or do you know what I mean? And it's being secure in the friendships that you have, to know, okay, this is why you're here, this is why you're here, and knowing why you're friends with people and sisters with people.
Something that I respect about Sarah, about what you said in regards to how you're journeying with your younger sister, and something that I respect about all of you, I feel like sometimes if you think about the church, we can act one way in church and in our family see a totally different side of us. And I feel like I haven't got a sister, but I'm sure it can be challenging to extend the same grace and love to your natural sisters as you do to other people. And I feel like you're a great example of the same way, you know, you can, well, you know, we're growing in order. The same way that you can extend your love to, you know, us who may not be your biological sisters, you can do so with your sisters in house. And I think that's a great representation of the love of Christ as well, because we should be extending as much love to our family, saved, unsaved, as we do when we're outside in church or in another setting. So I think that's lovely how you all can honour each other as well, because you can take it for granted, like when you're living with someone, you're smelling the breath and all of that stuff, you know what I mean? You take it for granted until you sit and reflect like, wow, God has actually blessed me, you know, and vice versa. We should also extend the same grace to those outside our homes as we do with those inside our homes as well.
It's like cultivating sisterhood, isn't it? Make sure you practice it.
Yeah.
True. I'm honoured to be able to say that two of the people that showed me the value of sisterhood are actually sitting on the very sofa with me. So these two lovely ladies, I can honestly say that the one hiding, Zoe was the first ever example that I saw of what it meant to have like value in sisterhood, the value of sisterhood. Like that, like our relationship, that meant so much to me. Like it means so much to me because I'd never seen it before. I didn't know what it was like to have a sister because I have 3 brothers, 2 I live with, one's a half brother, lives with his mom. And for a long time, I was like what you call a parentified child, which means that, you know, if your parents not very well and stuff, you become almost like a mini parent. So I took on a lot of false responsibilities, and so it made me feel lost with who I actually was. I didn't really know who I was. I didn't have the affirmations. I didn't have people around me to support me. So your friendship groups are so important because they really do influence the direction of your life. And so before I met Zoe, I felt like I wasn't around the right people. It was stuff that was detrimental, almost like this is how bad it was. You could be persuaded by somebody, or even there's soul ties with friends too, you know? Yeah, exactly. So you could literally be not even in the same room or anything, and all it takes is a word from them to reconvince you of like what you would do. For example, you might think twice about doing something, and then some other person's like, no, it's gonna be okay because this and this and this. Like they'll persuade you, even though you've made up your mind. They have that much hold over you that they can actually take your decision and flip it on its head. And I recognized the detriment of that, and so I was like, nah, I have to make sure that my friendship groups, you know, that's it, legit. And so when I made that prayer, those ones that were negative, toxic, faded away. And then Zoe came into my life, then Afiya came into my life, and other wonderful, wonderful people that I get to call my sisters came into my life. One of the reasons it means so much for me is because with my family, I thank God now that things are getting better in terms of our relationships. But one thing was that I was very alone. Like I wasn't able to reach out to my mom for support, or even my dad, or my brother, my siblings in that way. There may be some things I can talk to them about, but the dynamic of a mother-daughter relationship in which you can share and be vulnerable, I didn't have. I felt like I had to protect my mom from things because, you know, I wanted to, again, taking on the false responsibility of taking care of her mental and emotional health and needs and putting them before my own, even though I'm the child. So I didn't know what it felt like to be affirmed by a female, to feel loved by another female. I didn't know what it was like until I met who God brought into my life. Through divine connection, through whatever you want to call it, my prayers worked, apparently. And now I have thriving relationships with people who are patient, people who are kind and able to embrace me for me, and, you know, me reciprocate that as well. People who are willing to journey with you, to grow, go through the hurdles, and to give one another grace. Like sometimes, you know, sisterhood isn't about not getting hurt, not offending anybody, not this and that. Sometimes there's got to be rocks in the road a little bit, because, you know, it actually strengthens your relationship with that person. Just like in marriages, you know, it's a similar thing, that you've kind of got to grow together and extend that grace, like I said. But anyway, long story short, I'm happy. because I'm so blessed with sisterhood that I never had, but now I do. So
It's lovely.
Sorry, I was listening to everyone's examples and I just thought, like what Sarah said, Big Sarah, and then what Akila said. And it made me realise that both of what they said, I've been through with my sisters. And when Cherie said earlier about it being about journeying, I think that's like a very real thing about sisterhood. It's about journeying, because the sister, so all my sisters but one are older than me. I'm like the second youngest, and the gap between the sister just above me is 5 years. And although we went to school together, I was in year 7, she was in year 11, we didn't really have like a relationship. And then like my other sisters like 10 years older than me, things like that. Not really got a relationship. But me and my little sister, we're like 13 months apart or something like that. And we're close, but not even super close either. But I think when I was younger, like Akila was saying, like, you know, I was 2 and they were like 20. So, you know, well, what does a 2-year-old know about what a 20-year-old's doing kind of thing? But now I do have relationships with my sister. Not that I didn't have before, but it's a different kind of relationship now. So it's like when we were younger, we were all on like different paths, you know, going our own ways. But at some point, the paths all merged together into one, and you know, we journey together. And I think with sisterhoods like this as well, you may all be on your own individual paths, but somewhere along the way, the paths come together, they cross, and then you might diverge again and they come again. Because even I was thinking about when Afiya asked way back when about the examples of sisterhood, I was thinking about the 3 of us actually. I thought about that on the way here. Like we've been journeying for a long time. Like Shannon even used to like me.
Yeah, I'm gonna used to like you.
Well, oh yes.
Not gonna lie,
Yes, but you were more discreet about it. Yeah, but no, you were more discreet about it. Actually, I didn't realise in line when you told me you didn't like it. I didn't realise before. But you see what I mean? Like we've all journeyed, and then like I was thinking about our last meetup. You know, we've journeyed, we've done life, but then we have a catch up, and it's like we just pick up where we left off. Pick up where we left off, check in on each other's life, encourage each other, talk about what our next steps are, things like that. And you know, it doesn't mean that we're always traveling the same path together. But along the way, our paths come together, and we come together, and we do that empowerment, that encouraging, that building up, holding each other to account as well. You know, things like that. And then, you know, life happens, we might carry on, but then we schedule in another meet up and we come together again. Do you know what I mean? So I really think, you know, sisterhood, whether it's actual family or friends that are sisters, it really is about your journey, you know, because I've been through all these journeys, you know, all the ones that were said, and I'm here now. I have good relationships with my sisters, and I try to be more intentional about it, especially being the only one that's saved. I try to be more intentional about my relationships, how I interact with them, because you realise more and more like it has to be secured and founded in love.
Well, guys, I think we're gonna have to wrap up. I've really been enjoying this conversation, but because of time, we're gonna have to wrap up. But before we do, I just want to say I was sitting here and at one point I was like really trying to hold back tears. Because I was, you know how it goes. Because I was looking around and I'm honestly so proud and honoured to be able to call each of you my sister. And I was thinking about it when, you know, the girls were talking about having in-house sisters. And yeah, like you guys know, I have 4 sisters. But I think I am so blessed and grateful to be able to say that I have 4 biological sisters, but I have so many other sisters as well. That is something that I don't take for granted. And seeing you all here today to support me in this, to celebrate my birthday and just to do life, it's
it's such a blessing. And so I thank each and every single one of you. Thank you for being part of this, and I love you guys. So yeah, I'm just going to pray and close. Father, I want to thank you for every single woman who is here, for every single household that is represented here. Lord, you know why you have gathered us together on this evening. You know what it is that we needed from this conversation and from this gathering. And Lord, I thank you for everything that was brought to light, for the perspective shifts that have happened, for the eyes that have been opened, oh God, just for the community that has even been created, because yes, we are all friends with me, but we might not have even met each other before. But today we have made new friends, and we've extended the community of sisters. We've seen from other perspectives what sisterhood looks like, and it has definitely been a blessing. Lord, I just pray that as we go from here, that you would keep and protect each and every single one of us, and that you would bring us to our homes safely, and that, Lord, even after this conversation, that we would continue to see the fruit of it, that in our other conversations with our other friendship groups or sisterhoods or whatever it looks like, our other communities, that things from this conversation would shine through, and that you would continue to speak to us about sisterhood and what it looks like to do it your way. In Jesus' name. Amen. So guys, that is the end of our conversation. I hope that you enjoyed. But before I go, please don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. And as always,